everyone. This is Sunny, and welcome to my podcast. I promote, encourage, and coach people on spirituality to unleash their most authentic version of themselves with the power of unconditional self love. So, as I promised in my previous video, I will be talking about true love. So, here I am talking about true love because I'm on the same journey of attracting my true love in my life. But really and truly, before we even attract our true love, right? We have to love ourselves truly, okay? In all areas. But let's talk about what love is. Okay? The universe, the God, the Creator, they operate with the flow of life. What does it mean? They create and they destroy. Okay? So, flow of life is unconditional self love, wherein they create for their growth and they destroy or let go of things that are hindering their growth. Okay? A scientific example. So the universe created our galaxy, the Milky Way, and that created different entities as part of that galaxy, sun and the planets. And Earth is one of the examples wherein Earth is one of the entities wherein like the life is growing. And the universe also destroys or let go of things by creating that phenomena of black hole, which really and truly, sucks everything in, and the gravitational power is so strong that it sucks in light as well around it. Why? Because those entities are not really required anymore, and it's working with the flow of life. And these two things, the creation and destruction, are not obstructed by anything. The process is a free-flowing process. We cannot control it. Okay? The God and the Creator, the Lord, Jesus, Waheguru, Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva, Buddha, all these spiritual leaders or gods, they also operate on these same phenomena, same concept of creation and destruction. Okay? Why they worked on the same phenomena? Because they understood the most important piece of this entire universe, which was the flow of life with the creation and destruction. The flow can only come when we lose or when we kind of like don't control the things and we go with our growth and we follow that procedure or that path in order to achieve anything or any desire in our life. So that's how they became so powerful, okay? And that's why they were able to do a lot of miracles and all that kind of stuff if they were there, okay? All the scriptures from all different religions, they talk about all those kind of, miraculous things that they did, okay? But we don't believe in those miraculous things. Why? Because we think that, that's superficial or that's fictitious. But the motive of those scriptures is really and truly to talk about peace and love. Okay, have the courage, have the courage to forgive, have the courage to grow, have the courage to let it go, have the courage to surrender, have the courage to have faith. That's what it talks about. So as I mentioned, the God, the Creator, the universe, they operate on the highest vibration of peace and unconditional love. Right? So what exactly love is? Love is eternal. It's always there within us. Love is freedom. It's not control. It's flow of life. Love is growth. Love can never pull you back. Love is unconditional. Love doesn't have any conditions on your mood, on your anger, on your condition, on your status, on your whatever that is. Love is fulfilling because it is always associated with your heart and your passions. So that's what love is. So now we'll talk about what do we think about love and the modern society. Okay. So starting with your parents, okay. Um, and the same kind of thing happened with me as well. My parents were, and my parents used to always compare me with the kids, right? With other kids, always used to look down on me. Probably, you know, they used to have all those kind of behaviors towards me, where I would not be feeling free in order to grow in my life. And just because of the same reason, I was never able to settle with a lot of things in my life, with my friend circle, with different kind of professions that I had, um, and with relationships. I was always wondering, what exactly that is, until I started loving myself unconditionally. And here I am, I'm making videos on YouTube, right? I never thought about doing this ever in my life. Never thought about that. This is one of my passions. And I do it. Why? Because I want to improve myself. I want to grow from there, right? And also at the same time, as I was never settling down for anything, I always keep myself distant from my parents, right? I always used to probably work in different, states in India. I I had that previous relationship, which was against my parents' wishes as well, and so on and so forth. I went through those kind of challenges, one challenge after another, one challenge after another, because I never wanted to settle down to explore new things in my life. Right? Now, then it comes from your relatives as well, from your siblings, or probably from your friend circle, where your relatives would be looking down on you, would be disrespecting you in different ways. Right? In my case, my relatives always used to think that I'm a duffer. I can do this, I can do that. I was not not a good student at all. Like I was, literally below than an average student in the school time, in the college time, right? Uh, that was you know that was the thought process, and I always felt disrespected from them. Okay? And I'm sure you can pretty much relate your situations as well to what I'm mentioning right now. Why? Because then you feel like, why is the cycle repeating itself again and again, right? In my relationships, right, I moved from one relation to another, you know before getting married. Now I'm divorced, so I didn't have any kids, right? So thank God I didn't have any kids from that person, otherwise I would have been stuck in that relationship for a long time. But I learned a lot of lessons from that relationship, and I forgave her from everything that she did in my life. Unfortunately, I was always attracting a lot of narcissists in my life, right? And she was one of them, just to keep tight control on me, you know not letting me do whatever I want to do, and also not growing with me as well at the same time. And that was very unfulfilling for me, right? Again, I'm sure that you can relate to that as well, because certain relationships are like that, right? And then somebody, again, was narcissist. I attracted that person, and that person really and truly kind of like reminded me of my ex, and I was like, that gave me a shock of my life, and that actually, you know, did that soul awakening or spiritual awakening in me, and that's where all the changes started happening. And I'm not sure if anybody's going through spiritual awakening, um, but if you are, I have gone through that journey, and I know how to start that journey and to come to the point wherein you have that eternal peace and unconditional self-love for yourself. Yeah. And you are more than welcome to contact me. The contact details are there in the description column there. Right. But anyways, and financially as well, right? I was struggling all the time. And I was thinking, what are the limited belief systems that I have in terms of finances? Okay. And that's how I grew in all areas of my life, physically as well. Then I used to think, oh, doing calisthenics is something, which is very tough to do. But until I started doing that, I wasn't even aware that that thing, doing calisthenics can become really effortless, and it became one of my passions. So loving yourself in today's world, in modern world, is all about looking outwards nowadays. Comparing, judging, conditions with different kind of hobbies that we have, right? Location based, not having faith, control, playing games, manipulations. And that's what you see on the dating apps, or probably that's what you have seen in your relatives or from your parents as well. I've given all those examples from my past life in terms of how was I treated from my parents, from my relatives, or from my ex, or different kind of relationships, a friend circle, right? So there's always a sense of competition, comparison, right? Because we never look inwards, we always looking outwards. We're always looking outwards, okay? And we disregard our emotions. That's what we do in the modern world. We disregard our emotions, and we say that emotions are something that we cannot work upon, and it's natural within us. As my mother keeps saying that to myself, to me as well. That I'm very emotional. I'm very emotional. Astrology says that you know, uh, my birth chart or something like that. In Hinduism, we believe in astrology a lot, right? So, oh, my birth chart says that I'm going to be highly emotional and all that kind of stuff. And I told my mother, this is just a myth. This is just an illusion. Nothing is like that. If you want to change yourself, you got to have that courage, and your emotions will start calming down. Okay. But anyways, I cannot fix her until she takes that courage to go ahead and start that journey. But emotions, we say emotions are something that we cannot control. Emotions are the best friend when it's used appropriately, and the worst friend of ours when it's used every time. Simple. And that's where we do not show love to ourselves. Okay. So that's what it is in the modern world. You would have gone through like dating apps as well, There are so many conditions there. And there's nobody who is talking about growth. Or hardly any people who talk about growth, right? That I have this kind of goal in my life. They do not have any clarity. And then what happens is they tend to settle down with something that they're really not meant to settle down with, and then they regret. Okay. Or probably there is a limited belief system that if we go to the bars, we probably can bump into a person like that, right? That's okay. I'm not saying that's bad, but from the bar, you're already going ahead and meeting a person with those kind of toxins within you, alcohol, I mean. I'm not sure how that could be a fruitful first conversation with that person, but people are people. I can explain them, because in bars, it's a thing in Ireland. It's a It's a way of socializing, and I have nothing against it. But having said that, you can attract your true love if you're truly loving yourself in all areas of your life. Okay. In all areas of your life, what I mean by that is from mind, body, and soul perspective. Let me talk about mind first, okay? All those limited belief systems that we have, control, manipulation, playing games, you know, and then you're going to dating gurus as well, and the dating gurus will say, oh, you know what, do this, do that, and all that kind of stuff, but they're not really looking into the most important aspect of any human being, any human psychology, which is emotions. Okay. They're not coaching them in terms of healing yourself. They're not coaching people in terms of understanding themselves, calming their emotions, and you know their mind down to understand what they're really worthy of. Dating gurus, right? From your parents or from your siblings' point of view, are we understanding them? Or do you have sense of you know mental growth, uh, kind of thinking? And then are you keeping that healthy boundary with all other people who are really and truly becoming a problem or a concern for you to grow mentally? Doesn't matter whether that's in relationships, doesn't matter whether that's for your work or anything. Okay. So yes, start reprogramming your mind. Keep your mind open for all the possibilities. What we do is we keep our mind so limited that we always live in lack. Oh, there's inflation happening. Oh, you know, the population is increased. Oh, there is war going on. Oh, different kind of races are like that. Oh, you never know how can how you'll be able to get like different opportunities from anywhere. So keep yourself mentally open for all the opportunities and see how it goes. Okay? But yeah, you got to understand one more thing, that what exactly is really aligned with you with that openness, right? So that's also important, right? That's that about mind, body. It's easy for us to look into different aspects or different, areas wherein we have to grow. The body is one of them, which is so tangible that we can see the results there and then, right? So let's say if you're putting a weight, right, we know that we got to start going for a walk. If we are, you know, uh, going through some kind of health issues or illnesses, then we know what we got to do as part of that, right? We go for yoga, go for stretching, Pilates, or calisthenics, or running, or whatever that is, right? It's easy. Why? Because we know the way forward. Okay. But there is one more thing associated with our body, which is our clothing sense. Okay. Now I'm gonna give you the spiritual aspect of body. Okay. We have our soul, we have our body, and then we have clothing. It's just like an orange. Okay. Oranges, when you go to the grocery shop, right? If you want to buy a pack of oranges, then you always look for the oranges which are like good orangish color, right? And then you touch it, right? You see that, oh, is the pulp really stiff, right? You just touch it and You feel the freshness in there as well after seeing the color. Okay, then you got to know, okay, it's going to be pulpy, it's going to be more juicy or more sweet, right? The more oranges is going to be, the more juicy it is, right? Just like us, right? Human beings, we have a soul, and the body is the vessel for that soul, and the clothes are something which defines you, which actually tells you who you really are. What do you think about yourself, right? That's what the clothes would say. Okay. So if we start paying attention from our physical fitness point of view and our clothing sense as well. So clothing sense doesn't mean that you have to buy expensive clothes. No, I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is something which really looks good on you and comfortable and defines your personality, who you really are. Okay. So you would have seen a lot of bikers wearing those leather jackets, right? So we can spot them out straight away. Oh, those must be bikers with those, biker leather jacket, and they have got tattoos on them and all that kind of stuff, right? That's how you can see them like that, right? Probably riding a Harley Davidson or something like that, right? You will see a lot of rich people wearing nice piece of suit. They're well suited booty, and their shoes are always polished, well maintained, right? They do well grooming on themselves. That's what I mean, right? So they take care of what? The body, as well as the fitness, as well as their clothing. Okay. So this is the body part. Now the soul part comes in, which is such an important thing, where majority of the people lack. Majority. So I'm going to give you an example of my mother. My mother's emotions are, all over the place. Her emotions are heavy on her. So she always keeps giving me an excuse, right? Oh, according to astrology, because in India, in Hinduism, we follow astrology a lot. So she keeps giving me an example. Oh, the astrology says that I'll be always emotional. That is wrong. That is entirely wrong. That's a myth, that if somebody has told you something that you're always like that, there's always a prospect to change. Okay, now the emotional transformation, right? As I talk about, love is all about peace. Love is all about forgiveness. Love is all about courage. Love is not judgmental. Love is kind. Love is compassionate. Love is patience. Love is abundant. Right? So all these, different principles of the spirituality of unconditional self-love. I've made a video about that. I'll be sharing the link of unconditional self-love, the principles of spirituality, in the description column. You can check it out. So they all relate to looking inwards. Okay. And they all relate to your emotional transformation. Self-worth and self-respect. That is there as well. So if we start transforming ourselves one by one in all areas, using all these principles, automatically you start loving yourself, and that peace and that unconditional self-love can never go away from you. Never. But we really don't want to do that. Why? Because we're always looking outwards. We're always looking outwards. We're always looking what other people are doing. We're always looking what other people are thinking about me. We're always worrying about different activities going around us. We're always worrying about, oh, if I go there, if I go to an event or something like that, that could be a lucky place where I can find my love. Okay, that's fine. But have you worked on yourself? If you love yourself truly. If you love yourself truly, then you'll be following your passions. And in those passions, while you're doing that, the universe will work with synchronicities and bring you your true love to you. You don't have to chase that. And then, if you're following your passion, that true love that you're going to attract will be so fulfilling, it would be unimaginable. But, anyways, for loving yourself first and first, we just want to, emotionally, I'm talking about, we got to get rid of those limited belief systems. If we have to go to the therapist, go to the therapist. If you want any healing sessions from me, or any, you want healing sessions from anyone, go for that. Healing for all those kind of disrespect, all those kind of traumas, all those kind of hate that you've seen in your life. Forgiveness, acceptance, and blessings to your past and your past people would start healing you then. And then you'll slowly and steadily start feeling that unconditional self-love within you. Then you slowly start following your passions, not your hobbies. Hobbies are temporary. Passions always come from heart, that you love doing. You don't do those kind of things just because everybody else is doing that. No. You do not love somebody because everybody else is doing that. So, you don't have to settle down for anything less than your worth. And that's how you can really and truly start a journey from a mind, body, and soul perspective. So that's why I keep emphasizing and keep encouraging people to do all those transformations from mind, body, and soul point of view. But what really blocks you at the very end, that was my problem as well, and I was able to overcome that, is all about fears and unworthiness. Okay. I'm 43. I'm a type 2 diabetic. And I kept thinking about, and I'm living in a world, foreign land here, in a small town in Donegal in Ireland. Not sure, what people think about it. I don't worry about that at all. That was the kind of a thing that I was kind of fear and unworthiness and sense of unworthiness that I had. Oh, I'm growing old. I'm type 2 diabetic. I'm this, I'm that. And then I had started having fears as well, right? Oh, the biological clock is ticking, I'm getting older now. I want to have family, I want to have kids. So the way you can come out of those fears is only and only one thing. When you start accepting those fears as a challenge for yourself and grow from there. And whenever you get those fears, right, you always tell to yourself, fears are good for me. Why? Because they want me to level up. Anxiety is good for me because this wants me to level up. And that will do a beautiful transformation for you to deal with fears. And then when you feel that sense of unworthiness, you keep repeating yourself, you are enough for yourself, you are highly fulfilled, and you have what you really wanted to have in your life. You already have it. You already have that love in your life for yourself. I already have that kind of love for myself. which I really wanted to have. My true love for me. And that will do a great transformation in terms of coming out of those fears of abandonment or loneliness or any kind of fear that you have in your life. Okay? But it is a repeated process, right? It's a repetitive process that you have to keep doing internally. Okay? And you have to stop looking outwards, okay? This is the biggest problem that we face when we start looking outwards. Everybody else is getting married. Everybody else is happy. Everybody else is getting rich. Everybody else is having a fit body. You stop looking outwards. You stop comparing yourself. And once you stop comparing yourself with love, so that doesn't mean that I don't give a F to the entire world. No, not like that. People are people. I accept them the way they are. Nobody's better than me. I'm not better than anyone. If you have that kind of mindset, oh, you're definitely gonna grow. You definitely gonna grow. You definitely will be able to come out of those fears, that anxiety, that depression, and that hate, vengeance, comparison, whatever that is. And then you will feel your worth. Once you have that mind, body, and soul clarity on you, then you will be knowing what exactly you want in your life. What exactly? And there you are then. Your hobbies would not matter to you at all. Would not matter. Nothing would not matter. The only thing that would matter would be unconditional true love. And then once you have developed that, you would not even feel like anxious. You will not even feel like fearful. You are just flowing with life then, right? And you are operating at the highest vibration of peace and unconditional self-love. And that's where you meet your true love. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of peace, and your peace and love is not dependent on anybody else around this world. You are the most powerful person who has the power to change your life. And no one else around you. Because always remember one thing. What you are is what you're gonna get. This is Sunny, signing off.